Guys, do you want to learn how to make countertops from scratch? Do you want to learn how to go pro? In this video, we're going to show you how to use epoxy to cover countertops and save thousands of dollars. Right here, that's epoxy that I've previously mixed up. Right there, it's a different flavor of epoxy. When I mix the two together, it looks like exotic stone. We are mimicking Mother Nature, and we're going to pour this bucket right now. DIY revolution right here. You got this. Inside the sink, cutting upside down, eating sawdust for a living. We're changing the game, guys. If you're in it to win it, if you're a remodel-aholic, if you're a contractor, if you're a do-it-yourself or a weekend warrior, you want to know what's about to get thrown down on our mountain to 1 million subs. Subscribe, ring the bell to get notified every time we have a new video. Thanks again. You're gonna learn step by step a countertop masterclass that will save or make you thousands. Stay tuned. Everything is included right here, right now. You got this! Okay. Cool. I'll follow you. This is why we use MDF. That's bowed, but we're using this on site because I could screw down to each cabinet wall. I'm only 2 foot to each cabinet wall. It'll get rid of the bow, but I like plywood for overhangs on an island as opposed to 2 sheets of MDF. Gives you a little bit more rigidity, and so we wanted to match that around the kitchen here so we'd have the same exact thickness. Guys, what I love about doing a rock face edge is the cutout. I don't have to be perfect. If I needed to be perfect, I'd use my saw guide. Have you seen the saw guide? It's perfect for straight cuts on site. It's the solution to bad cut pollution. Guys, we're out here on site. We're cutting, we're making sawdust, and we're creating countertops from scratch. If you're enjoying this video, crush that like button. Help us get higher in the queue. So see this gap here? So I'm kind of following that now. So that'll get rid of my hump, and then I'll go cut that out. That'll make that tight to the wall where I don't need as much caulking to hide the gap. Look at that. Look how tight it is now. So if you've ever done T111 sheeting drywall, anything that's a 4x8 sheet. It's usually every 6 inches on the perimeter you'll put a screw, and every foot on the field or the center of the sheet good that you'll put a screw. And then when you put screws on seams like you'll see here, you really zipper them where you got a screw here, and then I'm gonna put a screw right here where it looks like a zipper or it's stitched together. I like that it doesn't move from my track, so I'm trying to get around this stuff. Look. Let me try to negotiate that through the table saw by yourself. Ooh, nice and cool in here.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's screw her in. All right, you got two options when doing new construction. You can go MDF or you can go plywood. What are the benefits of MDF? It's flat, it's not bowed, and it's the same material all the way through. So we like MDF because it's flat. We fought the bow. You can see it in this job, there's bowed plywood. So we no longer are fighting that because we've screwed that to the cabinet, but we also have an underside that's exposed plywood. We wanted to do a really nice plywood because on the other end over here where this giant overhang is, I needed rigidity. Why? Because this is going to be a bar with a big overhang. I didn't want two pieces of MDF that might bow over time. This is going to be much stronger. You can also put in corbels, steel supports, or any other structural member that will hold and support any overhang. All right, why are we building on site as opposed to templating and taking it to my shop? Well, this is a huge run. I'm gonna take the island to my shop. I'm gonna do the buffet here on site. I'm gonna do the vanities at my shop. Anything small, crisp, and concise that'll fit in the truck really easy without these giant seams. It might be better to do off-site, but this thing would be cumbersome to travel with. It would be huge. It could easily get off a little bit. You know, that distance to that distance is a long way. A quarter inch off there to there translates to a lot more than you think. So we're doing this right here on site. I have a new secret weapon. We got a drip rail gutter system that's gonna catch all the drips and stop any mess. Our goal is 0 drips. Let's see if we get it. All right, guys, it's really important pro tip to caulk any seam where it meets your cabinet, your back wall, anywhere that's not waterproof. Why? Because epoxy finds level, especially Stone Coat Epoxy. It's designed to lay out like a sheet of glass. Therefore, we're gonna caulk this to make it able to lay out like a sheet of glass because it's not gonna run behind our cabinets because we're gonna caulk out the seam. You use delicate surface tape first because then you won't hurt the lacquer on the cabinets or anything like that. Another pro tip is have a prep tote. Have a prep tote, have your hand tools separate, have everything organized when you're on site and your projects go much more professional. So I'm taping it right up here tight to the face frame, and then I'm giving myself added insurance right there. just to bring everything over my tape, and then I'll plastic from there. Like I said, my goal is no drips on this. So I'm gonna go right here on the bead of that drawer just to give me some tape strength. Don't go cheap on how much tape you use. Tape is a lot less expensive than refinishing cabinets. I got delicate surface, then I got the blue. Now we're gonna put our plastic up from there and tuck that at the bottom of the cabinet. And then the gutters. So really, when you go on base cabinets, you wanna get the 3-foot plastic. That'll cover all the way down to the ground, but you don't have a bunch of excess you gotta deal with. So I'm gonna shove it all the way back in this corner. That's where people go wrong, is they don't get it beyond that, and the epoxy will come down here and leak behind the tape. So make sure you iron that on. Now I could take my delicate surface and stuff and I'll finish that off. But now we're started. Where here's what I do is I'll go to my next length here at the corner, because see where it jogs in right here? I'll put my tape right there where it jogs in, and then I start here, I iron it tight, and then I go to that jog and I push it in. Don't just try to bridge that gap where you pull it tight and you don't jog it in. Jog in and follow all of those details and you won't get any leaks. Now, I have 2 layers of tape, which is probably unnecessary until you get a leak, and then it would definitely be necessary. So take your time, don't skimp on tape, and you'll get a really flawless job. I don't like wrinkles either. The moment you get a wrinkle is where it wants to pile up and make a mess. So I tape it up past the inside corner. Oh, I don't want a wrinkle. Past that inside corner, and then I'll pull that long length of tape halfway like that, and then I push this into the, see how I'm keeping it tight there? I'm keeping all this nice and tight, and then I'm pushing it to my original delicate surface tape. And I'm pushing it deep in that corner, no wrinkles, and coming around my post. And that's how you get an inside corner that doesn't leak. All right, have you guys seen us do the rock face edge, where we use the grinder to pre-rough up the MDF to give it that natural appearance? Well, I don't want to create MDF dust in sight. So necessity's the mother of invention. We're going to use a razor knife to give this an organic look. Let's do it right now. Watch this. So you can see, guys, we've plasticked off here. We plasticked off to isolate this section away from the rest of the house. The reason we do that is because Bondo is
messy.
No.
Dusty.
No.
Stinky.
Yes. One of those adjectives. So let's open this up. Get some air going on here. I'm gonna dish up with the hand. Oh yeah, dude. So this is where you give it that rock appearance right here. I'm just skipping my hand on it lengthwise. And the more you do this as it dries, the rougher it will be, but we don't want too rough of an edge. This is going to take very little sanding. This is a good edge to do on site, because when you tap it, there's a lot of sanding you got to do. Look at that. I mean, we're almost sanding this as it dries. That looks very real, man. All right, guys, I don't really like these corners being total 90s. So I'm going to jigsaw, just kind of round them over a little bit. I like it.
I do too.
I like it. Let's do this side. Fred Flintstone corner right there. Yeah, and then we'll just put a little bondo on that. You could leave some high points on there. I'm gonna, anywhere there's screw heads, definitely need to bondo that. And the nice thing about bondoing the edges like this is that's the most porous part of MDF and plywood. So if you do that, it doesn't have rough edges, where if you did like a smooth edge, you got to do multiple coats of paint to get that smooth, and the bondo does that for you. So I prefer the rock face edge over anything, especially on site. Like if you're going over old countertops, you could hide so many imperfections by choosing this edge. You can see how smooth this is. I'm just going to start giving it some life, giving it some texture. I use the back of my glove, but as it starts to dry, see how it's high right here? I'll scrape that low and just give it some texture. I like that. Wow, what a good first day. We got started with a bang. What did we do? We prepped the floors. We got the substrate ready with 2 layers. First layer was plywood. We screwed that down. The second layer was MDF. We glued that with Titebond 2 to make a permanent sandwich. After that, I came through and I prepped the cabinets. First, starting with delicate release tape. After that, blue painter's tape, then 3mm plastic. Use the thick plastic. Don't go cheap and you won't make a mess and you won't stress. Next step, we came through with the razor knife and I did a rock face edge with no mess, and again, no stress. We didn't want any dust. Then came the bondo. The bondo is fun. We used our hands. We used gloved hands, and that's the best trowel you can possibly think of. We added that, and then we did the seams. By covering that seam gives a seamless look. And that's one of the big benefits of doing an epoxy pour on site. You have 0 seams. Say that in any other substrate, any other countertop, you can't beat the look of Stone Coat. All right, we're laying out sinks. I'm gonna lay out our kitchen sink. I know that I got an 1.5 overhang. I got a 3/4 inch cabinet face, and then I'm gonna have a lip to catch that cabinet face, but I'm gonna go 4.5 inches. That's a pretty safe setback. It gets you easy access to your faucets on a standard depth sink. I'm gonna center this in my sink cabinet. A quick way to do that is a speed square coming down to the center of my cabinet door. So I'll grab that speed square, we'll get a center point, I'll get my 4.5 inch setback, I line the center of my template up with the face of that setback, and I got an easy cutout. Let's go. So this, we're gonna have to oversize cut it because we'll never get that sink in. We should have done that prior to this. That's gonna be a multi-tool from underneath. But in the meantime, this can catch our epoxy. Best masking ever. I'm gonna use 220 grit to sand this edge. That's just gonna make it smooth to the touch, but I wanna leave a lot of this detail. It's easy, it's fast, not a lot of dust. Let's see if this catches most of it. Why did we create our own gutters? Why not just use a gutter that you could find at any old hardware store? Well, these are mini gutters. They're made out of HDPE, which epoxy happens to not stick to, so they're reusable. Why do we have a groove underneath? Well, that's for any little curtain rods that you can use to grab underneath that groove to reinforce it, especially if you're gonna go to a smooth surface, such as granite or tile or something that you can't screw into like you would on MDF or plywood. We have a nice lip that will marry the underside of my plywood. That way I can screw right to that and it's gonna catch all my drips. It's the no drip lip, okay? When I pull this off, I'll be able to reuse this time and time again. I will cut this to size, but I'll keep all my cut pieces. That way, next job, they're already cut. I don't have to miter them anymore. Again, you could start at your ends and work your way to the middle and then just tape the middle so that you have a catch to drop it right into a bucket. Here we go. when I install this, I just want that lip right set back behind the countertop edge. That way it builds up right there. Slide that right there, and then I'll screw that in right there.
I got about a...
That's all right, I'm taping it. Okay, I got it from here. Thanks, man. That installs actually pretty fast. So you stick these in here. Okay, and that's gonna get me right here. And then I just trace right here where I want that 45 to come out. Boom. You want to cut this upside down. You don't want to try to catch that lip. Cut this upside down and it won't tear out on you. Cut it really slow. You want to have a very fine-toothed blade when you cut this stuff and go nice and slow. Safety is your first priority. All right, we're going to try a safer method with some snips here and see if that's better than the saw. Ooh, that actually cuts really easy with those. That's how those connectors work. And then I'll put another one here to catch that piece.
They told me to.
All right, we're back on the job site. We're prepped. We got the edges ready to rock and roll. We're gonna pour our epoxy, add our additives, and this time, I'm gonna make two different buckets. I'm gonna make a contrasting white bucket and a contrasting dark bucket. And then we'll pour those in two separate exotic pours and see what happens. I think I'm gonna like it a little bit better with more contrast. Here we go. This is the fun part, baby. I'm just breaking surface tension. That's all I'm doing here, just so that'll flow. Pretty. See this excess bucket Matt made? We're just gonna pour this behind the sink. Put it back there. That's cool. I like it. All right, let's mix up our next batch. I'll torch that out.
You just throw them in there randomly, huh?
Yeah, just random. The light bucket and dark bucket is turning out to be a decent choice here. Ready for this?
Ooh, that's dark.
Nice. Okay. That was light, and now this is dark. Just going in and filling the spots that need some product. Oh, that's a nice color, man. I'm just going to go through here and break surface tension. Tool of choice, got from the doctor. It's called a tongue depressor or a gloved hand. It's ideal conditions right now. It's in the 70s here. It's flowing like magic. We got plenty of working time. I mean, you see, we're mixing that for a substantial amount of time, and it's got plenty of time. I don't have to be in a hurry. Boy, that looks very elegant. See, I don't like these blobs here, so I'll just kind of move that blob a little bit. Maybe connect the blobs right here. That looks awesome.
look at the pro.
Okay. Guys, I hope you had fun watching what we did here. Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
You?
Yes.
We had fun. It's a consensus. It was fun. What we're going to do is let this dry for about 4 hours. My brother Mitch, he told me, come back 4 hours later and peel that tape. I always go too soon and let too much roll off the edge. Remember, we poured this heavy. We poured it thick. We did that because we don't want to pour another coat tomorrow. We're going to do ultimate top coat. We're trying to expedite the process and go one coat, ultimate top coat, done, and time to have fun. All right, guys, we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, 4 hours for me, right now for you. All right, guys, it's been about 4 hours. Check this out. We got a little bit of a drip in this gutter, and you can tell how sticky that is. These edges should be good. I'm going to start peeling it back, and you can see that it's really starting to dry. So we're going to peel this off and heat these edges up and see if we can't get this to flow over. So we want to pull it down away from that edge. This is how you get glassed out perfect edges. Yeah, we had a leak there and the tray just grabbed it for me, and now I have edge material. All right, we got the edges coated. Let's heat up the top edge so it just flows over and we get a really glassed out finish. Yeah, that's good. All right, it is the next morning. It's been about 16, 17 hours, and you can see everything is dry. That's our garbage. Let's get the garbage out of here. We're gonna remove the masking, we're gonna remove the gutter system, and we're gonna top coat this. Let's go. Our gutters work flawlessly. Last night you saw how I peeled the tape, but then as it continues to drip, instead of getting on the floor, where the cats and the dogs and the kids can step in it and track it everywhere, it's all isolated right here in the gutter. So what I'm gonna do is score anything that's overlapping from the edge to the gutter, and then I'm gonna remove the gutter system. Let's see how this turns out. This was our initial launch. We're trying to test these out. Let's see how it worked out. Here we go. Look at that. Okay, finding the screws. We had 0 leaks. I mean, look at the plastic. Usually we had just epoxy all over the plastic. Super clean, man. All right, so let's do this test, man. Oh, look at that. Nice. Yeah, it works good, dude. Yeah, you definitely want to score that so you don't loosen up what's glued on that front edge. I'm gonna take my multi-tool now and just cut any roughness off of that. Ripping the duct tape out, and these will be ready for the next job. Boy, that is awesome, man. Sweet. And then I would just stick your connectors. You know, it's got a little bit of goo on that connector, it peels right off. Stick your connector back in. You're ready to go. And guys, check this out. We cut this on a chop saw, we cut it by hand with snips, and we have tried a couple of different saws in this miter box, and the hacksaw in a miter box is really fast and really clean. Watch how easy it is to miter this with a hacksaw. So that's really safe, really fast. Don't need any power tools on site when you do that. I would definitely recommend the yellow miter box. I swore I would never use one of these. Anytime you go to the molding section or the tool section and you see someone get one of these, you know that's their first time doing baseboard. But it works really good for the gutter system, the yellow miter box. Now we're pre-mitered. So like if we come to the next job, you start on your corners and then you work your way into the middle, and it'd be easy, fast build. You know, you're not gonna have many jobs that have these kind of pop outs. This is pretty unique. You won't be doing small little miters like that very often. Heck, you could even just set up corners, just a foot, and then build from there, be fast. That's money right there. Woo! All right, I got 220 grit. I'm just gonna knock this bottom edge just smooth and go from there. Turn your speed all the way down. What you don't want is a high point down here. That high point will be somewhere somebody could come pick that and try to peel your epoxy. So by sanding that makes it one, and then when I do the ultimate top coat, I'm gonna leave this plastic on, I'm gonna roll it underneath my countertop as well. Then I'll peel the plastic when I'm all done. I will have no mess on my cabinets, and everything will be like enveloped in an envelope. Really good idea. That edge is smooth underneath now, man. I like taking the gutters off first. I'll undo all those screws, and then I'll pull that gutter down and score it as I go, so it kind of gives me some weight to show me right where to run my knife so I don't cut my gutter or my countertop. Guys, these are ideal for 1.5 inch overhangs. That allows you to get your screw gun back there and get the screws out. You don't want to come here after this is hardened up. You want to come right after you pour the next day, peel your gutters off, and you won't have a problem. You wait a bunch of time, it's going to be much harder. Guys, yesterday I used about 6 ounces per square foot. That's about double that I normally use because I wanted to do that flood coat with an exotic pour. But the result is I don't need a clear coat today because I got the buildup and the layout that I'm looking for, even though I put additives in it. Now I'm gonna make it food safe by applying that top coat. So that top coat is gonna give me that durability, that stamp of food safeness, and I'm gonna have a countertop to last for years to come. It's easy to apply. We're gonna roll it on with the roller using our 3-roller technique. What I do is I do a really saturated wet roll, I come back with the dry roller, and then I finish with a brand new roller just to get off any lap lines or any excess. That's how you get a lap line free countertop that looks like it was sprayed on and the finish is flawless. Plus the sheen level is that natural sheen. It gives you something that looks like natural stone. It mimics Mother Nature, and it looks like you're a pro. Now you know. I hope you've enjoyed the video. All right, guys, because it's so fresh, this countertop has a tiny bit of tack to it, meaning I don't need to sand to do the ultimate top coat. In fact, if I sanded right now, I'd create a little bit of crumbly boogers. Have you ever experienced that when working with the epoxy? It's only when it's super fresh you'll get gummy little balls. And so I don't want to sand this and put those microscopically on the surface. So I'm just going to apply the ultimate top coat. This is designed to be applied within 24 hours without sanding. Now, if you've waited longer than that, don't skip that step. You need a mechanical bond, an actual interlocking of that top coat and the epoxy. Guys, I've saturated my rag with isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to wipe the surface to make it dust free, and I'm ready for the next step. Man, these are already really clean just from wiping it with a rag, but this is just insurance. All right, we got a roller. We got an actual longer roller because reaching back here, we need to do so, right?
Yes.
So when you're doing the ultimate top coat, you only have about 10 to 15 minutes. But once you roll it out, you don't have that long because it's thin, it's starting to dry, and you want to do it section by section.
Yes.
And you don't want to come back to this section when you're all the way over here. You're going to be tempted to, as a rookie, you're going to see lap lines as it's drying, and you're going to want to come back and work that more and more. You have to trust me on this. We're going to do 3 rollers. We're going to do saturated. I'm going to come back and dry roll it, and then I'll come back with a 3rd dry roller. And you don't want to have your rollers touch any dust. So we've put a new piece of cardboard out here. I'm also going to delint these with a lot of tape. Okay, we're going to get any furs off of these rollers. Speed is your friend here. That's why we have 2 people.
Yes.
Okay, so stick along. Watch this. Let's see if it comes out with no lap lines. You think it's possible?
I do.
You got light coming right here. If there's lap lines, we're gonna see them.
Absolutely. Sunset sets right here, and it is bright in the afternoon.
No lap lines, guaranteed.com. You know what the biggest shortage right now in the workforce is?
People.
The trades, man.
Yes.
People, skilled trades. So how much it costs to get a skilled tradesman to come do countertops in 2021 is substantially different than it was in 2015. You know, you're paying a lot of money. So becoming a do-it-yourselfer has never been more profitable, more important,
yes,
or more fun. Shake up part A, because the matting agent in the bottom needs to be intermixed. This is a 2-to-1 ratio. I love about doing the top coat, it gives you so much forgiveness when you're actually pouring. If I have a bubble or an imperfection or a bug or something like that, I know I could sand it out today, and applying the top coat tomorrow hides everything. It also allows me to refinish these without repouring. I could come back in 5 years from now, sand it with 60 grit to rough this top coat up so I get a good mechanical bond, clean it, and apply another layer of ultimate top coat, literally with some masking tape on the cabinets and counters in an hour worth of your time. So if you're doing this as a contractor, you know, anybody who's worried about longevity, absolutely you come back and apply your top coat again. Here's the other thing. Whenever I've gone back to do another top coat or gone back to change a color or something like that, inevitably you get another part of the house. They say, hey, can you do my shower? Can you do my bathroom? Can you do my, my basement? Can you make this for me? You get more work. So do a good job, follow up, and set expectations. Literally tell your customers how much it costs to reseal and refinish. Don't tell them it's gonna last a lifetime. Don't be that guy. Give them expectations that are gonna be realistic, because honestly, 5 years, it's gonna still look the same as what I'm doing. So if you tell them, you know what, you may need to reseal about every 3 to 5 years, you're erring on the side of caution. You're going to set expectations that keep them happy and let them know this process and product is for me. I don't have to pay for natural stone. I save thousands of dollars, but I got to reseal it every 3 to 5 years. And what do I charge? I charge about $5 a square foot to come in and reseal it. How many projects as a contractor give you residual business besides pool cleaning and landscaping?
Not many.
You know what I mean? Or you're doing it on your own dime.
Yeah.
If you set up reseals every 3 to 5 years, you're building your customer base and you have a residual business indefinitely. All right, so I got B and A mixed. I'm gonna mix that with my paint stick. You notice while I was talking that I pre-mixed part A before I added part B. That's a really good practice. So now that I got B and A starting to mix, you can see I'm doing it with the paint stick. That's just so I don't entrain more air than necessary. Okay, I'm gonna add some water. I added a pretty good amount of water there. And that'll make it roll out better. I like to mix to consistency. All right, I'd say that's mixed up enough. It's time to get to work. 1 saturation. Here we go.
Saturate too.
So I'm putting my weight back here where the elbow is, okay?
Yes.
The reason I'm doing that is because it will help. You want to remove as many lap lines even with this roller. You see how it's removing those?
Yeah.
That's because the weight is over there. So I've done that. Now I'm just gonna roll this edge. I'm gonna do the underside last, okay?
Yep.
I'll come back for that. Okay, here you go. Perfect. Perfect amount on there, bro. Okay, I'm gonna dry roll this section.
I like to control the two-handed roller.
You like that?
Yeah.
I'm putting all the weight on that elbow, okay? I'm pushing down with a few pounds of pressure as if I'm trying to hold something down from being blown away with a fan. See how tight it gets it? We're leaving next to nothing on that surface. This stuff goes a long way. Take that. Okay, second roller, I'm going with the grain this time.
With the dry roller, you cross that both ways, fine.
Yeah. Okay, put those aside. Time for saturation. On the final dry roll, I'm very little pressure, but wherever the pressure is, it's on that back elbow. See how sloppy I put it on? Problem people have their first time doing this is they do not put enough on the surface. And the key with this is that final time you hit it needs to be a dry roller. So having multiple rollers, super important. That was a whole kit. This is over 100 square feet, or no, this is about 100 square feet what we just did, 117 square feet. And we got half a kit left. So yeah, I mean, it goes a long way.
Yeah, it does.
And for 50 bucks, come on, man. How long did that take us, Luke? 15 minutes?
15 minutes.
15 minutes to top coat 117 square feet, 0 lap lines, going back to the shop to do more top coat. DIY revolution right here. You got this. Inside the sink, cutting upside down, eating sawdust for a living. Whoa. Look at that, dude. Catherine went all out with that one.
That's a sin.
What do you think, man? Look at that thing. So you grab that little lip that I left in there. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that fit, bro. We're gonna waterproof the underside of this, and then we'll mount the sink. I'm gonna use our SK1. It's a waterproofing membrane. It's roll-on and it's gray, so we don't have a pink reflection into that stainless steel. It'll give you a good color underneath. We're gonna apply that with 2 coats and then we'll install the sink. How do you install an undermount sink? It's simple. We're gonna show you brackets, we're gonna show you a waterproof membrane, and we're gonna do it in 5 minutes. Let's get started. We use SK1 as our waterproofing membrane. We're simply gonna apply that underneath this undermount sink. That applies a waterproof vapor barrier between the substrate and the sink. And then we'll silicone the perimeter for good measure. We don't want any leakage between that sink rim and the sink. We're going to apply this with a paint roller and a paintbrush. We'll tape the edge of our sink and we'll apply it fast. Here we go. Pro tip, when you use a hole saw, make sure your pilot bit is proud of these teeth. That way it doesn't skip across your surface. This is what holds you and guides you through. That's why they call it the pilot bit. 28, half of 28 should be 14. All right. And then 1.5 inches should be a good setback, right?
Yeah.
Guys, about 99 out of 100 times it's a 1 3/8 hole saw bit to get through for your standard faucet. Okay, I like an 1.5 inch setback, but it depends on your actual sink. So you can see here, my lip is about 1 inch. I'm gonna be back a little bit from there, and then the washer will help catch the lip of that sink. Helps to hold that center of the sink up, but so do our brackets. Okay, so the front of my bit will be 1.5 inches back, okay? And then I'm just gonna we got a wet rag. I'm gonna go ahead and apply that waterproof membrane to the hole, and then we'll wipe up the excess. Okay, ready? Here we go. That looks good. We'll leave that waterproof membrane in there. When that's dry, our sink will be dry. We'll make some brackets. I'm just gonna find some scrap wood, and those brackets will screw up into the underside of our decking, and that will grab onto the lip. Now, if I had a normal sink base where it was about 22.5 inches from front to back, I'd just cut those brackets and screw into the face of my cabinets, but I got this doubled up and I have plywood. I know that's not gonna release, so I'm just gonna create some brackets that overlap the lip of my sink and also fasten into the underside of my countertop. This offers long-term stability, and then to cherry on top that install, we're gonna silicone that rim. And that silicone, once it sets up, is tough stuff. You could probably release those brackets and never be able to push that out. But we'll keep those in, and we'll have longevity, we'll have strength, and we'll have a leak-free sink installation. I just need some scraps of something. A 1/2 inch plywood's good, 3/4 good, but 1/2 is probably better. You'll get more of a bite with your screw. Ready? Let's make some brackets. Yeah. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift the sink up to Mitch, then I'm gonna screw in my brackets. He's gonna hold it in place while I screw that in. We'll have a set sink when we're all done. Hold on, let me kind of get it slid in place. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
That was pretty easy. That sure looks nice. Wow, look at that. I feel fancy, dude. Look at this. This is why you get your sink on Amazon. Guys, if you want to know where we got this sink on Amazon, subscribe and I'll tell you at the end of the video, but you'll only get to see it if you're subscribed. This is sick.
Yeah, this goes in too. This has a little pouch for it. Man, what a cool sink.
Hey, that's pretty cool, man. That makes the counters look way cooler, dude.
Yeah, this is cool. It's a great sink.
All right, guys, what we're gonna use is the cooktop cutout as part of the backsplash. That really ties the backsplash and the countertops together as one. It makes that custom project look on purpose. So don't throw that cooktop cutout away. Do a good job cutting it out. plunge cut those corners as opposed to using a drill bit and drilling through. But if you've already done that, you could always cut those just a little smaller on a table saw to get a perfectly clean cutout to use a nice rectangular piece within that tile that you've created. Talk about a DIY, you know, paradise right now. So I'm gonna find center here. I know that that cabinet door is 34. 17 inches is where center is. So I'm gonna take that speed square and I'm gonna go to 17. And I'm gonna transfer that to the center here. Okay, there's our center point. So our width is 34 and 9/16. So half of 34 is 17, and half of 9/16 would be like just over a quarter. It's into the 30 seconds. Go right there. That's gonna give me where my tape needs to go. All right, and then what's the depth on this? The depth is gonna be cutout depth, 20 3/8. We are really fortunate to have popped this counter out, because your big commercial level hood, you're gonna have protrusion on that, okay? So I brought this out to 27 on my cabinet depth. Normal cabinet's 24, but by bringing those out, I'm able to do cool stuff like this, where we have a spice rack. I built that in place, and then we have full extension hardware, but this is a false drawer because I need depth for that cooktop. I got my wiring in there, and I'm gonna sneak that cooktop up front. Now normally when you're only 24 inches, you have a sliver of stone back there, a sliver of countertop left. In this case, we're gonna have, you know, an extra 3 inches, okay? So that's a pro tip if you're gonna build your cabinets. If you're gonna buy prefab cabinets, you could always pull that cabinet out off the wall a little bit. You can do that to make it appear as a 27 depth. So what? Your drawers aren't that full depth, but you have that extra countertop to sneak away from that hood so you don't have a headache. Okay, I'm gonna do a 4-inch setback.
I don't watch it now.
4-inch setback. I'm gonna go right there. Now, the one downfall to I'm sure there's more than one, but one of the downfalls to doing a rock face edge is you gotta pull measurements off that edge. Well, we know that we just carved that, so you're really pretty flat across the top there. So I'm pulling measurements, but I did 3 lines so that I can confirm that I have a nice straight line. I got 4 inches. Now what I'm gonna do is go 20 3/8 back and see if I like that cutout. Again, lay this out on tape, lay it out before you pull out your saw and start cutting. Take a little time to make sure you're happy. Okay, I'm gonna go 20 3/8, correct, Mitch?
20 3/8, correct.
Okay, there's that right there, and I think I'm gonna love this placement. Mitch and I have done a lot of installs of these things, and people never have enough room. And it's like you're fighting the screw strip of the cabinet, it's so tight. You know, I'm using this extra ram board tape that we had, the stuff made for you know, the floor protection, but it's made to go on other surfaces. And I love how wide it is, and I love how easy it comes off, but it sticks really well. So I'm gonna confirm that I'm 20 3/8 right there. Right there. I'm gonna trace that. Okay, now I got my center point, and I got my 2, because we're 34 and 9/16 on our width, right, Mitch?
34 and 9/16, correct.
Okay, so here's the tricky part is I gotta stay square.
Go off the back.
I could go off the back, and this is all I have, is this little 6-inch speed square. Now I'm gonna teach them a trick to confirm that we're a 90, okay? It's called the 3-4-5 method. Okay, so what you do, and this is all those who are in public school right now who aren't learning math, I'm gonna give you your math lesson. How do you know that it's a 90-degree angle? 3, 4, 5. You got your 2 legs of your right triangle. You measure 3 inches, you measure 4 inches, your hypotenuse, or the angle should be 5 inches. That also graduates. You can go 6, 8, and then it would be 10. And that's in inches, that's in feet, that's in yards. You can do a house that way. This is how you get things square, old school with the string, all right? So let's check it. So I'm gonna go, let's go a little bigger because that's even more accurate. So instead of 3, we're going to double it to 6. What would this be, Mitch?
9.
8. Mitch is close. 8, because we're doubling 4, and then this should be 10 inches. So come on in, check that, see how that is 10 inches. Okay,
90.
so that's a 90-degree angle. So now I know I'm safe to pull my measurement over to here and over to here, and that's going to keep this parallel, and my cooktop will fit, even if it's not a parallelogram. 34 and 9/16. And these are all minimum cuts. When you're doing a cooktop, it's going to give you a minimum and a maximum. I like to lay it out with the minimum and then cut outside the line. That's what I like to do. You don't want to go to the maximum and push the limits of your cutout and have daylight coming through your cooktop. Happy all the way around. Time to do some cutting. Man, I really like the light on this.
Yeah, it's a good little song.
You don't notice that you got one, and you know, before the ultimate top coat, we would be terrified about running it on this. Now, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Ready? There we go. That's loose. Ready?
Yep. There we go.
You got it. I'm gonna try to delaminate the two right now. Let's see how good the glue does. Yeah, it'll come apart. Nice. Sweet. Then I want to put that up. I'll cut that down actually a little bit more.
Right, give it a little more perimeter in there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
I think I'll take our trim tiles and back butter them out a little bit, and then I take those trim tiles so that they're just proud of this to frame it out, and then dive all of these other tiles to it. Let's make our next mold. Today's mold making day at the shop. So I bought these rocks for doing backsplash, and they didn't have enough of them, and I'm like, you know what? What about making stacked stone? Blah! That's heavy. All right. You know how fast that is to install, and it looks like, you know, individual stones. But how cool would that be to make a backsplash mold where you just, because you know they fit together, right? But you just hold them apart so you could pour these individually. I mean, that does a large piece of backsplash in one pour. Make a bunch of these at once. What do you think? You want to try it with me?
I do.
You guys want to join me on today's mold making project? We're going to learn to make backsplash. It is one giant mold to save you, I don't know, thousands of dollars? Let's get started. This is the best idea I've had all day. Okay, this is part A, plat 40. Where's part B, plat 40? Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yes. Get a mixer well, then I'll pour half in there. Okay, here it comes. That's a cool. That's pretty fun right there. We made the ultimate mold. We have tiles, we have thresholds, we got trim pieces. This wasn't hard to make. Took a little bit of time, a little bit of ingenuity. Let's see how this thing comes out of the mold. We gotta wait 16 hours. You gotta wait less than 16 seconds. Here we go. Oh, yes, dude. Look at this. This is ready for concrete. Dang, it's gonna be good, man.
That's a good reference line.
Do you want to know what our secret is for a mixture? Our secret mix. You know, the kind of mix that you pay way too much money for. Rapid Set Cement. That's our secret mix. That deserves a subscribe because I just saved you tons of money having a secret mix sent to your house, shipping all the way from Arizona or wherever you're buying your bag mixes from. Come on, man, don't overthink it. It's polymer. Polymer is that secret ingredient. Ready? A lot of water. You want this soupy, man.
Oh my gosh. That's perfect. Dude. Look at the detail of that. Every bit of detail is on there. You're like, sick. Perfect release.
Yeah. Two for two, Mitch.
Popping them. Awesome.
So Mike, molds were successful. Now we're doing our first batch.
Yeah, the molds were really successful. Check them out. So we're gonna make another batch of these. All right, you wanna grab that half and we'll pour these rocks. I'm happy, dude. I think that's gonna work. I went to go get some stone tiles for some backsplash. They had 2 boxes left in the whole store. Every store's out of everything, so why not make your own, right? Should I do the marble spray?
At least on one.
All right, let's see what it looks like. That's pretty cool. Yep, we're doing the whole thing.
Yeah, that's neat.
I like those, man.
That was an upgrade.
Yeah, a little dab will do ya. Now it doesn't look like it's sitting on top, you know?
Good work.
All right, we're doing our ultimate top coat. We're doing that on the threshold, and we're doing it on our backsplash stones. Now, the reason that I'm applying the ultimate top coat is I want to lock in the color. When I scrub this over time, when I wipe that backsplash down, when I do the threshold cleaning, I don't want to burn through the paint. After all, this is spray paint, right? So the top coat locks it in with extreme durability. It also gives you that natural sheen. This is the easiest stuff I've ever cleaned because of the thick, hard, candy-like shell that we put right over these stones. I add about 10% water. I'm gonna mix with a paint stick. And because I'm doing thick stones here with lots of undulations, there's lots of highs and lows, there's a pretty heavy profile on these stones, I'm gonna use a 1/2-inch nap roller as opposed to a 1/4-inch nap that I use when I'm doing countertops. It's okay to leave it a little bit heavier because this texture allows that. It doesn't need to lay out like glass because it's not, it's bumpy. Here we go. I'm gonna start on these stones. Now, I've never done stones like this before, so we'll see how it looks. I'm really glad we got this 1/2-inch heavy-duty roller, man. I think that was the right call.
Getting in all the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, actually very easily. It's Jeff Jensen. He's our site leader at Stone Coat. Let's see what he has to say.
I think I need another dry roll.
Hey, Mr. Jeff.
How are you?
I'm so good, man. I'm just applying some of the ultimate top coat on that backsplash. Have you seen that backsplash yet?
No, I haven't even seen.
Oh boy, you're in for it, bro. This is so cool. I am actually. You're on video right now. We're on a live video, and
Sweet.
I told him you're the man at Stone Coat that everybody wants to talk to. So I better go to finish this. Can I call you back on my drive home?
Totally.
All right, I'll call you back, bro. Later. That might be fun to have some of that in there, you know. Now this will give me with my trim tile, it'll give me 3 inches all the way around so I could put the other tiles in and it'll look right. You don't want to crowd it with just this big piece of stone. All right. Now we cut that out with a skill saw on site, and now it's like factory cut. That's perfect. Yeah, that'll be pretty sitting back there behind the backsplash. That'll be cool. That's an interesting piece. You got some lights, some darks. It's not all dark. That's cool. All right, now we got to trim it out. See if this is going to be enough. That's cool. Oh yeah, that's like butter. All right, we'll get these pieces cut first. We got to find the center point of this. Yeah, this is, I'm gonna build this as one piece and then take it in, slap it up with some caulking, and it'll be one and done, where this takes forever to do on site. I'm just getting the center points of this thing, and then we know how to symmetrically build this. All right, what I've done is I've built a spacer. You can see that underneath these tiles, I've ripped a 1/2 inch spacer. That gets the tiles that we made a little bit proud of my actual piece. That way when I install this, I don't see that it's MDF and epoxy. I see a piece of stone that matches my countertop, and then I see the rocks coming in, and I have a 3-inch perimeter that's all the way around, so it's even. I could even 45 those and do something fancy if I want to. I mean, this is the centerpiece of the kitchen. When you walk in, this is what you see. Now think about it. I could do this over acrylic and backlight it. I could do this, you know, with tiles. I can do this with, you know, a photo. I could do this with anything that I want. I could put a TV back here with a two-way mirror. I mean, goodness gracious, the sky's the limit. Okay, so I'm just gonna brush a little bit on these edges. Okay, that goes right there. That'll get all my corners tight. All I'm doing now is just hoping that tomorrow I come back and this is like one piece, man. You know? So I just want to get rid of any blobs. I think I'm gonna call that good. Yeah. Let that dry. I glued it all up. I'll let this dry, and then I'll paint the, I'll sand these, because I'm gonna sand this to match it up, you know?
Yeah, sick.
And then it'll be one piece glued on.
That'll be fast install from there, dude. That's cool.
I glued this up over the weekend and it dried as one piece. It's a little bit ugly in the back, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna glue this to the wall. I'll use the rocks as a shim. This is gonna save me hours on site of going back and forth to the tile saw to get it perfect. And now I've incorporated that countertop directly into the backsplash. What are we gonna do? I really am leaning towards contrast to the black stone. I think I'm gonna actually paint this kind of like an earth tone. I want to make it look like a natural noche travertine, and that's a little bit of a chocolate or a mocha travertine. Have you ever seen that color travertine? Let's go ahead and do that. I think the black and tan is a classic combination to a winning color palette. So let's do black and tan. Here we go. I gotta grout this with something before I paint it, just to fill in these cracks. And I think I'm just gonna use caulking. And caulking will work because it's paintable, but I'm gonna just grout this with caulking, knowing I'm gonna paint it the same color anyways, but I don't want any gaps here. I want it to look, you know, finished. And if I have gaps, it won't look like a real tiled in situation. Now, the rest of it is gonna be stacked stone. It's gonna have gaps. But for some reason, I think I just wanna see this looking grouted, because I've never done this kind of travertine without actually grouting it, so. Let's go find any kind of water-based caulking because I'm going to paint it. I just used existing epoxy from pouring the shower wall that we're doing, and it's set up, it didn't move. I sanded the high points with, you know, a carbide sanding disc, and voila, we're gonna have a backsplash to die for. Okay, here we go. It's all dry. Boy, that's looking cool. So I'm gonna put like a dark base on it, and then I'll lighten it up with some of that cream and white. Okay, so see that color? I'm gonna like just fog some highlights of that color, and I'll try it on the edges where it's not so prominent first.
Oh yeah.
Do you like what that's doing to that dark color?
I do. I really do. It's giving it a more travertine look for sure. You know.
And I think doing it kind of uneven is smart.
Cool.
And what I found in these type of applications is if you use a couple of different colors, it's more realistic, because you look at stone and it might be an earth tone, it might appear as just one color, but it's not. Really study that. You'll see that there's multiple variations of the same earth tone within that earth tone. It's earth tone within an earth tone within an earth tone. Here's a little bit of white. And then what I'll probably do is just fog back over it with a little bit of dark again. Kind of start where you stopped. Yeah, see those three different colors really look cool. That's an antique brass. That looks kind of cool actually. Geesh. I'm gonna put more of that on. Now I'm layering it on, you know, multiple layers, but by the time we get to the job, this will be dry. I'm gonna add a little bit of, I usually don't like this color that much, khaki, but I think it's appropriate for this. No, look at that. In small doses, khaki is wacky. All right, here's some black. Oh yeah, see that? You just give it that antique look immediately. That's a deep, rich color now. Let's pull that off. Let's pull that masking off and get a real look at this. Here we go.
Put up in it's wet paint. Yeah, that's cool. It's like stone.
Look at that.
That's tight.
Okay. It's going to be 36 1/4. It'd be 18 1/8. And then where's center of this thing? 29 5/8, 14 13/16 maybe. Yes, 14 13/16. So, can you hold that to the left there? You got it?
I needed.
Go ahead. That'll be nice right there. And then we'll cut 3 1/4 out of that. We'll cut that out here. Cut it out here. We're off to the races. Do we have any black spray paint handy? Just in case it falls. Okay. Time to glue these up. Anybody who's ever done real tile knows that applying thin set to the entire piece takes some time. This might save a lot of time in the application. Okay, hold.
Got it.
I'm gonna come my way here, right there. Go a 1/16 to the right. Good. Okay, 3 5/16. 3 5/16. I'm happy. Are we good over there, Mitch?
You're good on my end. Excellent.
Nice.
So the trick is getting that big piece mounted and then just
Center it, center that and go off of that, man. Nothing else matters on layout now. If I had another, if I had another medallion or something, you'd set that and you'd work off center into each other.
that makes sense.
That's really the whole name of the game, is what you see right there, man. Now that center piece is in, these take all of a few seconds to install. It'll take a little bit more time around the plugs, obviously, but geesh. That torch gets it dry. That torch was a good idea on the drying.
It's quick.
Okay, because that has a straight edge. I can build this either off of that corner, but I'm gonna start these plug cutouts. Okay, so how do I do a plug cutout? I'm gonna show you right now. We're gonna lay this out on the wall. So that's your edge, that's your edge. Right there. Let's stick this up here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my pen measure to the bottom of that plug is 3/4. There it went. But if I can get this out, I can at least bring them back together in place, you know. Now that won't show anywhere, you know what I mean? This takes all the time is going around plugs. This is what takes all your time. So get good at this and you'll be good at tile. You know, whenever I sell countertop jobs, there's a couple of things that come up. One is a sink. What sink are you gonna use? What faucet are you gonna use? You know, they're gonna buy a sink and a faucet. If you have, you know, a relationship with a sink company, that would serve you well. You can maybe get an affiliate or something like that where you send them to your sink buddy. He makes a little bit of money, you make a little bit of money, and everybody's happy. Another thing that you can do is hook up with an online faucet dealer, okay? Maybe you refer them to a faucet dealer, they use your link, and all of a sudden you're getting 10% of the faucets. That adds up, that pays for your epoxy. When you sell a sink, let's say you stocked your own sinks, you went on like MR Direct, or you go on some online dealer for sinks, or you buy them off Amazon, and you have them ready, say, you know, you go into Home Depot, it's a $400, you know, a stainless steel sink right here at Home Depot is $400. But I can stock that sink, I could go shop that thing online, find it for $200, $250, and then by convenience, I got it ready. And then look, I bought this off Amazon. It came with a drying rack, it came with a cutting board, it came with like a salad washer, whatever the heck that is. It came with a rack at the bottom. It even came with a basket strainer for a couple $100. I could sell this for $400 because it's convenient, it's ready. And then I have a template to do that undermount cutout already because I use the same sink on every job. By golly, you're gonna pay off your epoxy, your costs come to zero. Now you upgrade to a full height backsplash, all of a sudden as a contractor, you get double the money for the same amount of clients. Work smarter, not harder. Now, I love these sinks. People want to find the sink that you're in love with because you've tested it. It's 16 gauge, it's not 18 gauge, it's not floppy. I like this faucet because it's easy to install, it's a decent brand, it's an off brand, but it's time tested. I know it's standing behind my name. So I help your clients become more helpful and you'll make more money. I guess that's the pro tip of the day. Help them and they will come. Ding. Oh man, I hope this fits. Oh yeah, it fits. I'm not putting a little pinner up there.
No, no need.
No, that'll be awesome, dude. Dang. There we go, like a glove. room for my end panels to slide in. I meant to have the end panels already installed. I forgot to do that, but I left room. That looks clean, man.
This looks awesome! Wow! And you did it so fast. Wow, this looks great!
You know our little pencil trim that I have a mold of?
Yeah.
I'm gonna trim it out there.
Oh, that's cool.
And then right here and here, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna cap it there and there, and then I'm paint it the same color as that.
This is sick. Oh, this looks like a gourmet kitchen now. Now we're talking. Wow. We gotta invite like Chef Ramsay over.
I know, right?